Hey everybody, what's going on? My name's Grant. I'm going to be installing today the Barricade HD winch bumper that goes on the front of the 5th gen 4runner. This won't work on the Nightshade 4runner or the TRD Pro, it says. But there are a couple of different options that are out there from Barricade. And while this won't be a super in-depth video, it's just a video that is probably needed for somebody out there. I couldn't find any videos out there of anybody installing this in particular bumper, but you can check it out and hopefully it'll help you out. And I'm just going to kind of show you what goes along with the steps. It says as far as difficulty, it's pretty easy to install. The one big thing I'll let you know is this, of course, is a bumper that you're going to have to cut into your existing bumper just a little bit. But if you've got an oscillating saw or like a Dremel tool or something with a good blade with a little bit of filing, it says that it goes pretty simple. So hopefully this will help you out as we go through it today. Let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to do from here is start removing your bottom bumper clips and bolts. There should be about 4 bolts across the bottom that are the original bumper cover, and then there are a couple of clips that just snap in and out of place. And you'll also need to detach a piece of plastic that's right above the skid plate that connects that to the bumper cover, also removing a couple bolts. Here, don't forget to remove the bolts on the sides around the tires. There's about 3 to 4 that's underneath the wheel well there as well. Now you've removed all the bottom bolts, go ahead and use your detailing tool here and remove these plugs, and there's 4 on the inside as well, and then a 10mm bolt in the very center that you need to remove, of course, with your ratchet tool. Make sure you remove your fog light clips. If you have those, just pull your fender back right here after you get that detached, and then just go in here and pull those out before you start to remove the bumper in any way. When you get all of your little rivets and bolts removed that kind of attach the main part of the plastic to the bumper cover, then you can go ahead, and the last thing you want to do, and if you've got somebody that can help you, maybe be on the other side at the same time, right here you're going to have your hardest point to kind of remove, and it's going to feel like there's a lot of tension there, so be real careful as you kind of pull back. But then once you pull back and you pop these sides loose, then you can come over here to the front, and everything else with a little bit of a wiggle should just kind of pop off and remove. And so now your bumper's down and you can kind of get to everything else you need to start doing. All right, y'all, for those that have this cooling line that runs right here off your cross member, there are some wedges that they have put in this kit, and it's very important that you look at the instructions. It does show you which way that they go up, and it kind of tapers upward. But you're just going to remove these bolts. There's one on the other side. First on the driver's side, you're going to want to take that all the way out. And then simply take your wedge here, place it behind it, facing in the correct direction, and then go ahead and use the same hex bolt. Okay, on the driver's side, go ahead and tighten it down. And that just moves the cooling tube just enough to where the mount for the winch and everything is going to be able to go. On the other side, we're going to do the same thing, but we're not going to tighten it down all the way. We're going to leave it somewhat loose, it says. Next thing we're going to do is bust these loose. Just get your little breaker bar. Takes a 14mm socket and just kind of pull those loose. And once you get those done, you can kind of go by hand, or if you can fit your impact driver up in there, that's great. I'm just going to have to do them by hand. So now that you get that off, as you saw, it takes a little bit of wrestling and maneuvering to get that bracket loose. You saw a cable hanging down from mine. I've got some rock lights I had mounted up underneath that to see the front of my bumper. Just got to adjust those off and relocate them. But it's not too bad. Again, if you got somebody else to help you, it goes a long way. And we're gonna mount the main winch plate, and this is what the bumper will eventually attach to. As I said, I'm not putting on a winch today, but they make it pretty easy if you do want to add a winch later, just to be able to remove 3 bolts on each side, slide off your bumper, and then put your winch in, get it installed, and get it run. So we're gonna go ahead and get that up. Again, this is a good time to have a friend. I don't have any friends, so anyway, I'm gonna do my best. At this point, just take your original hex bolts that were in the aluminum bumper and reattach them in those same slots lined up on the winch mount. All right, guys, so we've run into kind of our first snag that's not in the instructions. On the TRD Pro, or I'm sorry, the TRD Off-Road, which is what this is, a 2018 Toyota 4Runner. There's plastic, and you might run into this with your bumper cover. It looks like it's made to support the plastic bumper cover. So I don't want to completely remove it because that'll give too much leeway as the bumper is going down the road. But right here, when I put my HD Barricade Stubby bumper up on here, really, it's kind of catching right here. No matter what I do, I've kind of looked at it. So I'm going to have to cut off just this corner of plastic, but I'm going to leave the rest of this plastic as I can. And on the opposite side, it's kind of a different cut. It doesn't seem like it really gets in the way as much, but I might have to do a little bit of trimming at the bottom. But as I said, you don't want to completely remove these because then that takes away some of that backing for your bumper cover. So we're going to get into that and cut it up just a little bit. All right, guys, so now we're at the point we're going to go ahead and attach the bumper itself to the winch plate bracket. These are going to be 12 millimeter by 40 millimeter bolts, and then you see we've got a 12 millimeter locking washer and then a washer itself, and then we're just going to put those 3 on each side. Bumper cover, now that we've kind of got the bumper, the new bumper kind of installed and the winch plate installed. Remember, as it says in the instructions, if you don't notice, don't tighten everything down yet because you still got some brackets and things we're gonna have to get into later. But once we move to this part can be a little bit nerve-wracking because you're gonna have to cut into your original manufactured bumper. If you've got the TRD Off-Road series or the Pro, they have a piece of trim or your plate that you're probably gonna have to remove before you even mark this up for cutting. And all you gotta do is there's these little blue clips in the back, and you just push those down, pop them out, and then this part of the trim package will actually just kind of come right out. As you can see there, that silver part or whatever color black that you might have, that's going to come out. You're just going to put it to the side. And then from here on our ridges, according to the instruction, we're going to go to the top and we're going to make a straight line all the way across here. And then we're going to go up 1 3/4 from that point. And we're going to mark another line, and that's going to be our cut line. But other than that, we just kind of follow these ridges all the way down. So it's really not too bad as far as fears of measurements and things like that. So that's the part we're going to get into now. All right, guys, I'm going to be using an oscillating saw. You can use a Dremel, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Out of the ones that I've looked at and tested, most people recommend using the oscillating saw so there's not as much to file down after the plastic melts. But like I said, you can do whatever you want. Now with all your cuts being made, go ahead and check the fitment of the bumper, just placing it back on there. And then they supply a piece of trim cover, which looks like a black piece of tape, but it fits really well and it makes it look a lot cleaner as you put it back on. Then go ahead and just start working in reverse order to get everything pushed back in and all of your plugs put back in as well. All right, guys, now that we've got all the trim and everything back on, you're going to need to remove a plug that's right here on the frame, on the driver's side. Now, the thing is, mine has come off at some point, so mine was ready to go. Good, bad, or ugly, it's ready to go. But it is important. There's two very fine threaded bolts that you're going to use here, and it has to be those bolts. Don't put another bolt in there unless it's fine threaded exact to the measurements, because it could mess up your frame. So we're going to put those on, and that's going to be one of your stabilizing mounts right here, as you can see, for the back part of the plate. All right. On the driver's side now, the driver's side stabilizing bracket is shaped like an L. It's different from the passenger side. There's only one like it in this Barricade kit, but then it comes through and it just attaches to that bracket front and back that we just did. So now we're going to install that. All right, guys, I know it may be a little bit hard to see, but after you get this bracket up, this basically is just going to connect back into your bumper cover, the plastic pieces down here at the bottom, just to kind of help stabilize that. They give you two bolts for that with two washers and a locking nut. Once you have your bumper cover reattached to the brackets you just installed on driver and passenger side, just take the mesh screens, put them on the front, 4 quick bolts, and that finishes everything up. So as you can see, we have finished up. Now there are a couple other options you still have. There's some light mounting brackets that if you want to do a light bar on here, you're welcome to do it. I've got plenty of lights already in there. I might do some adjustments later and add to that. And then also the skid plate, but I'm adding some other things on the bottom, so I'm just going to hold off on putting the skid plate back on. But it's a simple 4 bolts using what's already there for the winch and then what's naturally there for the Toyota. So anyway, overall, if you've been paying attention, the light has obviously changed during the day. So doing this by myself, it was pretty simple overall, just some things to look at and pay attention to. But it took me around 4.5 hours. But I will tell you straight up, I am not a great mechanic. I take things very slow and very meticulously to make sure I'm following directions kind of perfectly. So you can probably do this a little quicker if you've done this for quite a while. And then on top of that, if you've got a friend, boy, you'll probably have it done in no time if you know what you're doing. But anyway, overall, very easy install for Barricade. They are not wrong when they say it's a very easy install. But I'm very happy with the way this turned out, and I can't wait to get it out on the trail. So thanks for joining me, guys. I hope this helps somebody out there. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you out on the trail.